I'm Jake Schultz, a rising senior here at St. John's University, and I'm the editor-in-chief of The Record. I'm here with St. John's University President Michael Hemesath, about to start currently started his second term as president here. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for your interest.
So before he became president, St. John's had only had monastic presidents. It was operated by the Abbey. Our football and our basketball coaches were absolute legends. And since then, all that has kind of changed in varying degrees. How have you been able to balance all of this change while keeping tradition?
Yeah, you raise a really good question. I mean, there have been some significant changes in my first 3 years. And I would step back from the specific changes and note that in addition to being the first lay president, the other thing that happened right around the time that I became president was that there was a legal separation between the Abbey and the university. And that took place in the summer of 2012. And that was a long time coming. A lot of folks that were involved in the university had been planning on this transition for a number of years, and that happened to take place. It was a bit of a fluke that it took place right exactly when I was becoming president as well. But I think what that change says to me was that individuals involved in the university have been thinking about our future for a long time. We have a lot of people that are deeply committed to the institution, and they've been thinking about what the right future is for St. John's for a long period of time. And this legal separation between the Abbey and the university was part of that long-term thinking. And I think that just says to me that the people that are involved at St. John's University are always thinking about the future. We have a great historic tradition. That's very important to us, but from the very beginning, the monks that started this place were thinking about the future. And I think that the way in which we were thinking about the legal relationship between the Abbey and the university was just one little way in which lots of people before me built and continue to think about the important tradition we've had going forward. So in a lot of ways, I guess this is the simplest way of saying this is, I don't have a particular significant role in preserving that tradition. I'm only one of hundreds or thousands of people that are involved in that, in preserving that tradition going forward. And so I don't feel like I've done anything particular to keep that tradition going. I think I follow in the footsteps of lots of folks who've taken that role very seriously for a long period of time. Now, having said that, there have been some really significant changes as well that don't happen every year. I mean, when John Gallardi retired in my first year, that was a very big change. And anyone that's at the university for 60 years and then steps down, there's going to be a change, especially for someone as important as John was with the community and with his role with athletics and his incredible national reputation. That was a big deal. On the other hand, John built a tradition and a framework for a great student-athlete experience at St. John's, and it was simply a matter of finding a coach that could step in and pick up that mantle. And no one is going to replace John Gallardi, but we certainly had a number of candidates who were very committed to the student-athlete experience at St. John's in the way that John was. And I think in Gary Fashing, we have the perfect candidate to replace John and to step in and make that student-athlete tradition continue to be a hallmark of the St. John's experience. And exactly the same thing was true when Jim Smith stepped down this year. Jim was a mere 50-year coach, or 51-year coach, but he was also a big part of building that student-athlete tradition over lots and lots of years. And Pat McKenzie is going to continue in that tradition, and both Pat and Gary were hired not only because of their knowledge about their sports and their ability to put winning teams on the field and on the court, but equally important in hiring them was to hire them to provide a student-athlete experience at St. John's that is exceptional, that creates, develops great character, great young men that we send out into the world to do great things, as we've been doing for decades and decades under our previous coaches.